all men by nature desire to know. Aristotle, when he wrote this, was saying that the thing that makes human beings different from other creatures, the thing that defines us, is the pursuit and acquisition of knowledge. This is not just to say that we, human beings, are curious creatures. It is to say that our ability to think about and to act on the world around us is bound up with our ability to know it. To be alive as a human being is to know, in the same way as it is to have a heart that beats. We all understand this in mundane ways. We understand, for instance, that part of being a fully independent adult, making choices about life, is learning about the world around us and informing our choices with that learning. In the book of Proverbs, it says, "By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures." But there is something more to all of this. The very next saying in Proverbs is, "The wise are mightier than the strong." This is the earliest occurrence known to me of the now well-known idea. Knowledge is power. To keep a person ignorant is to place them in a cage. So it follows that the powerful, if they want to keep their power, will try to know as much about us as they can, and they will try to make sure that we know as little about them as is possible. I see this insight everywhere, both in religious writings, which promised emancipation from political repression, and in the revolutionary works promising liberation from the repressive dogmas of the church and the state. The powerful throughout history have understood this. The invention of the printing press was opposed by the old powers of Europe because it spelled the end of their control of knowledge, and therefore the end of their tenure as power brokers. The Protestant Reformation was not just a religious movement, but a political struggle. The fight to liberate hoarded knowledge through translation and dissemination. Through the confessional system, the Catholic Church spied upon the lives of its congregants, while Latin Mass excluded most people who could not speak Latin from an understanding of the very system of thought that bound them. Knowledge has always flowed upwards, to bishops and kings, not down to serfs and slaves. The principle remains the same in the present era. Documents disclosed by NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden show that governments dare to aspire, through their intelligence agencies, to a godlike knowledge about each and every one of us. But at the same time, they hide their actions behind official secrecy. As our governments and corporations know more and more about us, we know less and less about them. The policy, as always, is to channel the decisive information upwards, never downwards. Today, remember that it is good to seek to empower the powerless through knowledge, and to drag the machinations of the powerful into the daylight. We must be unapologetic about that most basic of humanities, the desire to know. The powerful would do well to remember the words of one of history's great activists, as recorded in the book of Matthew. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear, in the inner rooms, will be proclaimed at last from rooftop to rooftop.
Well, Assange is free, and boy, is Rumble delayed. Wow. I'm going to say hi to Carrie and Herbie. How are you guys? I see Pocket Friend, Red, and Magnolia. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it was super delayed. Sorry for the delay. and I look a wreck because I've been so busy today. But that's okay. The show goes on, right? I worked super late, and yeah, we're going to talk about Julian Assange. So that video was from Rev DQ, and I added some music behind it. I hope that's okay, Rev. I just thought it could have some music behind it since I was using it for an intro. Anyway, I am using Rumble Studio, so I am not sure how this is gonna go. This is only my second time using it. I didn't have to do it based off of an emergency this time, so we'll see how it goes. But I don't have my fancy agenda because I was trying to figure out how to do overlays in Rumble Studio, and I still have to figure that out. So we'll get there. But tonight, I am going to talk about Julian Assange and the climate hoax, and we'll have a little bit of good news, and I might touch a little bit on Paul Ryan. I actually want to do a separate video about him. But the big story is Julian Assange, and you know that's probably the biggest news story of the whole time, of everything that we've been doing. So, oh, I thought I'm trying to figure out how to, there we go. There we go. So yeah, Stella posted that Julian is free, and that is super exciting news. Everybody's cheering, and I'm excited too. But I have some thoughts on the timing and the fact that like the Biden's DOJ made this deal with him, and I think it's interesting. And so let me just break it down a little bit. I'm going to pause that video that's on X there. But it's super exciting, and I am super excited that he is free. We've been wanting that for a long time, but we've been wanting a pardon for him. And here's the thing that I noticed. So very recently, before this happened, I don't know if it was at a Trump rally or in one of his interviews, but President Trump made a comment that he wanted to pardon Assange. And now the government worked out a deal with him that he can plead guilty with his indictment, and then he will be set free because his sentence would be time served, because he's already been in prison for so long. He's been locked up for a long time. He accepted that deal, and I don't blame him. He has children. He has his wife. He can live his life. But here's the thing. I think the timing of this, after Trump said he wanted to pardon him, and Trump has mentioned him before, and a lot of people questioned why didn't he do it in his first term. I wonder, do you guys think that Biden will bring that up in the debate? And they're going to use this as a part of the campaign, because what I'm thinking is that Biden might bring it up in the debate. I'm not sure. I'm just spitballing here, saying, we freed Julian, and Trump will probably come back with, well, I was going to pardon him. I've been saying that. And Biden will probably come back and say, well, you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, there are a ton of people that have been wanting him to be free for so long. I feel like this is a total campaign strategy move. That's just my thought. What do you guys think? I'd love to know what you think. It's just the timing is super crazy. But one thing, that's just what I wanted to talk about with Julian Assange. I'm super excited that he's released. I'm sad that he had to plead guilty for that. My hope is that Trump will become president and still pardon him anyway. Did you guys see Pence and what he said about that? I didn't like bookmark it, but Pence was. Let me see if I can find that and bring that up because where is that? Yeah, Mike Pence. Oh, there. Well, here's somebody took a screenshot of it, so I'll just bring this up in the browser. If I can do that. You guys bear with me, sorry. Still figuring out this Rumble Studio stuff here. Let's see if this works. All right, yep, it does. I'm in the way though. I wish I could change my presentation, move stuff around. But anyway, he said that Julian Assange endangered the lives of our troops in time of war and should have been prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The Biden administration's plea deal with Assange is a miscarriage of justice and dishonors the service and sacrifice of the men and women of our armed forces and their families. There should be no plea deal to avoid prison for anyone that endangers the security of our military or the national security of the United States ever. This was a journalist who was given material that he published. He did his journalism. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what do we got? Mareswa? I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce your name. We've got Craig in chat. Hello. Thanks for joining. Anyway, I don't know. Do you guys agree that this was a campaign move? I think it is. So, Herbie, are you able to see this on YouTube? Because I set it up to go to YouTube, but I can't seem to find where it went. So I just had to link to my regular YouTube streams. Let me know if you are able to find it. All right, so one of the other things that I would like to do is do a sort of a sponsor thing here that I'd like to try out because Rumble Studios allows for sponsors. And I would like to go ahead and read a couple of ads if you all don't mind. This one is from 1775 Coffee. You get to pick who the ads you can read for, which is super cool. So between segments, I might want to do that real quick. So 1775 Coffee is what we're going to talk about. It's time to say goodbye to Starbucks and say hello to Rumble's 1775 Coffee. Unlike other brands, this is a coffee that backs free speech and is unapologetic about it. That's right, you have to be unapologetic. Visit 1775coffee.com. Use promo code STUDIO40 to get 40% off any coffee subscription. The coffee comes in medium and dark roast. It also comes in pea berry, which is similar to Kona coffee. In other words, this stuff is premium. Click the link in the live chat or the description, and you can also go to 1775coffee.com. Use promo code STUDIO40 to get 40% off today, and I will throw that link in chat. That sounds interesting. I haven't ever heard of pea berry coffee. Have you guys heard of that? I have heard of Kona, but I haven't heard of pea berry. So, all right. Thanks for bearing with me on that one. The next thing is maybe a little bit of a bigger topic, and that is the climate change hoax. So, oh, okay. So Herbie, you found us on YouTube. Great. Dorkbot 5 times? 4. Okay, I'm not following the chat. I'm trying to figure it out. Thank you, Herbie, for sending the link to the YouTube one. I will definitely copy that link and post it. All right. So I want to talk about climate change because not that we all need to hear more about climate change, but to be honest, I have been seeing so much going on around climate change, the narrative, tons of news stories. We're not highlighting them, and I don't know that we should, but I kind of wanted to point some of this out because it's accelerating, if you will. And I don't know if you guys remember. Let me see if I think I have that video. Yes. I don't know if this is a climate change video, but I'm gonna play it because I think it might be. Actually, let me stop sharing my screen. I will get better at this as I use Rumble Studio more often. Stop. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to check out this video and see if this is the right. You guys remember when, I wonder if, I wonder, okay, maybe I'll just speak to this because I'm not sure if this is the right video. But basically, do you guys remember when CNN did the COVID numbers and they had it constantly on the screen? And then Project Veritas, when James O'Keefe was with them, they said that the next thing is oh, actually it is on this video, so I think I will pull it up. I fast forwarded it while I was talking. So I'm going to share my screen, but this will be a kind of a fun reminder, and then we'll talk about what they're talking about in the news today.
Climate, climate, like global warming, and like that's going to be our next, like, I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be our focus. Like our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? Without saying it, that's what it was, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
What does that look like?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I have a feeling it's just going to be like constantly showing videos of like decline and.
Yeah. So that's the video I wanted you guys to remember because they said the next big push was going to be on climate change, and they were right. I mean, look at you guys, what we have been going through. We've been talking about 15-minute cities, and everything is climate change is causing everything. It's the cause of everything. So, yeah, there's a lot of fear porn, and I'm going to share my screen again and show you some of the headlines that this is Nature magazine. I just went in there the other day just to be like, oh, I wonder what kind of fear porn they have on climate change going on. And so here they're saying climate change is hitting the planet faster than scientists originally thought. It's going to force new animal encounters and boost viral outbreaks. It could flip Mediterranean lands to desert. Okay, so the nomenclature and the climate change stuff is starting to increase. And I'll tell you the reason why I looked this up. I looked it up and started thinking about, oh, they're going to be doing a huge push for climate change when this whole, I know it's over now and they've lifted it, but they wanted to ban the farmers in Idaho from using their water. And they said they wanted to conserve the water, but the farmers were saying they had more water than they've had in decades. They've had a ton of rain. They're trying to figure out why they wanted farmers to stop. And, you know, my first thought is they're trying to figure out how to go after the farmers here because of our food supply and everything they're trying to do with our food supply and change our food and all of that. And we have all these huge industrial farms that will be forced to eat their food from if the smaller farmers go out of business. And basically, I know I'm blathering about something completely different, but these farmers were saying that it was going to put them out of business, you know, and they're not going to turn off their water. And then they were going to just shut off the wells and stuff like that. So I was really annoyed with that whole thing. It's like, how can they tell farmers they can't water their land? It's one thing if it like we're in the 1930s and we have a huge drought and there's no water available, and but it's another thing just to throw that big foot down on their necks. And so it just got me thinking, and I'm like, you know, if they can't get them through tyranny, they're going to try to get them through climate change. They're going to try and claim that they need to do what they are doing in the name of climate change. So anyway, that's what got me down this rabbit hole. And trust me, it's a rabbit hole. Oh, you guys know I'm crazy with my bookmarks when I have the show. I probably have over 100 bookmarks. I'm not going to show them all. I will have to get kind of picky as to what I show here. But yeah, so I'm going to go through and see what kind of things I want to show. But in the meantime, we have a ton of like cloud seeding projects happening. They talk about it publicly. They're doing a big push for the beef, having fake beef. They're doing all kinds of things. So anyway, I just want to highlight it. We've had a few silly things in the news. And one of the things I wanted to point out, do you guys remember those crazy climate activists that recently threw buckets of stuff on Stonehenge? And that's just crazy. They were throwing orange powdery stuff on Stonehenge in protest, just like they were trying to destroy like the artwork at the Louvre and stuff like that, and super glue their hands to the street, which is so stupid. They're just so stupid. But the Stonehenge people who run Stonehenge actually fought back. And they said that Stonehenge is protected by the Ancient Monuments Act, and it's a criminal offense to damage stones. There are also multiple rare lichen species growing on the stones that are also protected. Expect a prison sentence. So there's the lichen species is like a form of bacteria, I believe. All right. New York Times has this headline from June 11th, a new way to talk about heat. So when I started looking after the Idaho thing, I noticed there's a ton of news stories from all these different news outlets talking about the heat wave and how unconventional it is. And there's even, I posted a story about Saudi Arabia. Every year they have millions of, or hundreds of thousands of Muslims make a journey to Mecca as a part of their religion. I think every Muslim is supposed to do that journey once in their lifetime. They're required to. And I used to live in Saudi Arabia. For those who don't know, I lived there for several years when I was younger. And anyway, the news was just talking about how they had extreme heat in Saudi Arabia, 120 degrees, unheard of, all of this. but I have to tell you guys, when I lived in Saudi in the summer, that's how hot it was. It got even hotter than 120, and it was just blaring hot in the summer. Super hot, dry heat. I had to wear flip-flops, so I lived in like a protected, it had walls around it. It was like a compound. They had compounds there for people who were working there that were out of the country. So we lived in this Dutch compound. So we lived with a whole bunch of Dutch people. And I had a pool. So so we were able to go to the pool, but the chair was maybe 5 feet from the edge of the pool. I couldn't even go barefoot from, the lounge chair to get into the pool. I had to wear my flip-flops. That's how hot it was there. So these news stories, and I'm going to bring up, just kind of show some examples of these news stories. But so here we have the New York Times talking about a new way to talk about heat, how there's record-breaking temperatures. And what they're doing in these articles is they're really pushing the fact that it's man-made climate change that's causing this, and they need to act. It's an emergency. So yes, this year is hot here, and we had a very mild winter. But the year before, it was freaking cold. It was the coldest winter I can remember, and the snowiest winter. So, they're ridiculous. The Earth has seasons, and seasons fluctuate. Some summers are cooler, some are warmer. That's just the way the world works. But they want to go in and change things. And what they're doing is pushing that climate change is a huge problem. So, let's see, what do I want to show? There's so many. Climate change may worsen health conditions like dementia, epilepsy, depression. So there's a new study on that. This was done just a month ago. So most of the things I'm going to show, they're going to be recent. And then they have like that it's so much hotter than it's ever been before. Tons of articles. If you guys just go to climate change and look at all the news articles, like over the last month, because you can do that. You can like filter it down to the last month. Then so we've been seeing this, like it's hotter than ever. We've got record heat. Here's what it means. Here are the endangered foods that are going to disappear from our planet due to climate change. See when this one was. This is 1 month ago too. And then, I showed this one. It's so crazy. And then this one, rising temperatures may impact groundwater quality. So not only is it going to impact our health, it's going to impact the groundwater. This was released June 17th. There's a ton of them lately, guys. You guys have to go check it out. And then this was from Carrie. She sent me this one, that the effective temperatures on language complexity may endanger democracy. I wonder if I can shrink it so you can see the whole headline. Oh, you can't. Let me go here. But they said it could endanger democracy. I'm just seeing where it is. We find warmer temperatures to reduce language complexity of politicians. In Germany, we observe a larger effect of warm days on older politicians. Climate change could reduce the speech complexity and productivity of politicians. What the heck is this? What is this, you guys? I mean, seriously. I don't know what's going on. Can I show? I want to show comments. How do I do it? Oh, here we go. Can I? There we go. Red. Fear porn articles. Trust the science. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Climate change. Red. Climate change makes you gay. That is so right, Red. That is so right. Anyway, I'll continue on. Now they're talking about hurricane season might be more dangerous than ever due to rising ocean temperatures. And how climate change threatens democracy. And it affects elections all over the world. This is June 5th, 2024. Sorry if I yelled in the microphone. I didn't mean to. There's more that talk about how it's dangerous to democracy. I can't say that word because, we're a republic. So anyway, and then let's see. All right. So the narrative segment here, so I don't have my agenda where I could bring it up, but this whole climate change is about narrative. So here is something that I wanted to call out some of the words that they use in this. I thought that I highlighted this. Where are my highlights on this? That's okay. I'll just go through it. Maybe I posted it on Telegram. So you have to look at these words. This is about narrative. The world struggles. Deadly heat. Storms and fires. And then it goes on and on because this is the biggest fear porn article that I think I've ever read. Planet heating, carbon pollution. And then shattering climate scientists' hopes. And they're talking about that the global energy emissions may have peaked. They talk about energy-related emissions. And here's the thing, never mind. I'm just going to keep going. The report paints a bleak picture. The world is struggling. If you look at every single sentence has fear porn, fear porn, fear porn. More intense and more deadly. These underlines are my highlights. Brutal extreme heat. Deadly fires. People have died. Killed dozens of people. It's crazy, this fear porn that they have. So anyway, all right. I am going to continue on because I think I've made my point there. But I will tell you what, the rising temperatures, didn't you know that they can worsen symptoms of brain conditions? Did you know that? I didn't know that. Did you know that they're cooking bumblebees, the rising temperatures? They're literally cooking bumblebees, guys. That's from 1 month ago. Oh my goodness. Rising temperatures, declining nutrition, how climate change impacts our food. It just impacts everything. They're talking about how it causes droughts, but yeah. So I'm done with showing you the articles, but I want to point something out that, how come I couldn't, there we go. How come I can't just close this? I'm just going to do this. Okay. So I want to point something out that is a little bit crazy. So have you guys heard of Y Combinator? It funds a bunch of startup companies. And how come I can't? Oh, you guys, I was showing a different screen. What did it do? It didn't even show you what I was looking at when I was laughing. I was doing this, showing worsened symptoms of brain conditions, killing bees, and how it can affect our food, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, but here's the crazy thing. This Y Combinator has considered investing in flooding the desert. They want to go out to desert flooding. That was a proposal. Now, this one isn't recent. This is from a few years ago, but this is crazy. So their vision was that they would go out and grab water from the ocean and go flood the deserts to stop the droughts from climate change. So, but it got squashed because there were a lot of people against it because, first of all, it's just crazy. Second of all, like there's wildlife that lives in the desert and counts on that really dry, those really dry conditions. You know, some of them live underground and come out and do their thing and then go back in. And anyway, it's just crazy. They want to mess with Mother Nature. They want to be God. And they're all crazy. They're just all crazy. And then they want to have democracy reforms because of climate. So this one is older too. This is from July 2021. Anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up because I'm seeing more and more of it. And there's just a ton of fear porn. They're talking about how the glaciers are going to melt again. I hadn't seen that for years, since Al Gore days. And yeah, so that's what's going on with climate change. I've just noticed a trend. I wanted to call it out. I want you guys to pay attention, and then we should probably, respond to people about how nutty they are, and talk about how they're actually only spreading it to try to change things rather than actually fix any environmental things. So that's what I had on climate change. And I'm curious if you guys have been noticing this too. So, oh, it took you a half a dozen times to get to Rumble, Craig? Is that what you mean? So he said it took me a half a dozen times to get, so I don't lose yins. Yes, Carrie, it would be devastating to the animals and the plant life too. Yeah, think about like the cacti and the different desert plants that they would destroy. And seriously, like they think they can play God, but they can't. So that's the climate change. And then what else was I going to talk about tonight? I was going to talk about, I want to go to the second campaign, and it is, who did I want to do? I wanted to do Truth Social. Oops. Oh, shoot. I've reached the maximum amount, so I guess I can only do a couple? I don't know. So I guess that's it. So what I'm going to do is just talk about some good news that Carrie actually shared with me. And I think it's incredible. Do you guys remember last year when we did the podcast about the revivals? that were going on. And they were spreading across the nation and to all of the universities. Well, they didn't stop, and nobody's talking about it except for CBN News. So, the revivals are still sweeping the college campuses. This is incredible, guys. Whoopsie. And this was just published last week on June 20th. And yeah, they've got a video here talking about it. So I'm gonna play this real quick. It's not that long, but you know, and I searched, and whether I use DuckDuckGo or Google, you know, like nobody's talking about it. Even this article didn't show up for me when I tried to search for all of that. So anyway, this gal, she has a massive college age audience. And so she's going out to the colleges. She made a cute statement about how like she's getting too old for this because they stay up super late and they don't want to stop. Anyway, let's go ahead and watch this real quick. I hope you guys can hear the videos that I'm playing.
Tanya Pruitt started, and Jonathan McLeod and I have just been going and preaching the word. And my friends that have come, they're like, gosh, this is really stripped down. It's really raw because it's planned in 4 weeks. Students are planning it. They're inviting us, and they are responding to the gospel, and they are showing up in droves. So it's been super encouraging that this generation wants God.
How surprising. I mean, obviously you've been in this ministry, you've been doing it, but how surprising has it been to see that level? I mean, you were baptizing people in the backs of trucks recently.
Oh, we've been baptizing people every other week. I mean, and we go up, you know, last time it was up to like 1:30 a.m. I'm too old for this, but it's a time of my life. I'm so happy. It is surprising, but I will say in 2018, I remember that was the first time I spoke and Gen Z was in the room. I was at Texas A&M and we were in an arena, and I just said, hey, I want you to...
She goes on a little bit, so I'm just going to stop sharing that. But I thought that was incredible. I'm so excited that that's still going on at the universities. That's pretty awesome. That's our good news of the night. And thank you, Carrie, for sharing that. As a matter of fact, one of these, I'll put that whole video out on social media. And speaking of social media, for anybody who doesn't follow me, you can find me on, oh, I don't know if you can see this. I got to edit it and put a background on it. There we go. You can follow me on X at Nevs TV, Truth Social, just Nevs, and Telegram, Nevs channel. So, but next week, what I'm going to talk about next week is, well, one of the things that I'm going to highlight next week, which will be the main focus, is how people have mocked God and saw God's wrath immediately following. It's super interesting. Super interesting. I've been compiling some stories on that, and I think I'm going to save the Paul Ryan. Well, maybe I'll just touch on Paul Ryan tonight. So here's what's interesting. Trump's been complaining about Paul Ryan and that Fox News should fire him, get him off the board. And he's done it a couple of times. I went and searched to see, like, how long has he been? I mean, Trump's always complained about Paul Ryan, right? But the thing of it is with Paul Ryan, Trump started complaining about this before the news came out about him. And the news was, so I think Trump knew this. And so I'm going to share a couple of his Truth Social items, and then I'm going to share what Cash posted on Truth as well. So, so Trump, he posted that nobody can ever trust Fox News, and I'm one of them, with the weak and ineffective rhino Paul Ryan. On his board of directors, he's a total lightweight, failed and pathetic Speaker of the House, blah, blah, blah. So He did a couple of these posts over the last, I think I tracked it like over a month. And so I found that a little bit interesting. But the big news that came out was from Kash Patel. And so, wait, what is this one from? Yeah. So Kash also posted saying he is jawing about his brand of conservatism, the same Speaker of the House who hid his copy of the Steele dossier in 2016. So I don't know if this passed up a lot of people, just him mentioning the fact that Paul Ryan had a copy of the Steele dossier back in 2016. So Kash kind of broke this news that Paul Ryan had the Steele dossier at the same time that like Devin Nunes was trying to get his hands on it and putting in subpoenas to the FBI and trying to get his hands on stuff. That whole time, Paul Ryan had it and didn't tell them. So, so I found it interesting that I found some posts on, and I'm going to play Kash explaining this, but but the fact that President Trump has been talking, like this one was from last month, May. He was saying loser Paul Ryan should be fired by Fox. So it's interesting that he's said this a few times over the last month and a half, and then this video from Kash Patel comes out. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then I'm gonna do a meme. I want to explain it so bad, but I'm not going to. I'll share with you guys when I have it ready. But all right, let's listen to Kash. Oh,
this is, I'm telling now, I had to get you up. I've got 2 tweets about you about my beatdown of Paul Ryan the other day about talking about character and, you know, Trump's lacks character. You brought 2 brutal tweets up about Paul Ryan's character related to the Steele dossier that has not gotten anywhere near the exposure it is. Tell me what you got, brother.
Hey, Steve, great to be with you. Thanks. Remember in 2016, let's rewind the tape. It was Russia collusion, Russia collusion, Russia collusion. And then Speaker Paul Ryan enlisted me and Devin Nunes to investigate the Russia collusion. Nobody knew what the Steele dossier was in 2016. They had already gone to the federal court and unlawfully surveilled Donald Trump with it. But what we didn't find out until after we completed our investigation in 2018 was that the Speaker, Paul Ryan, who charged us with investigating Russiagate, was the first guy to ever get a copy of the Steele dossier in 2016. He never told us. He still never admitted it. It finally was admitted in a British court where Christopher Steele was being sued. Just think about it, Steve. We could have asked, where did you get it? Who did you get it from? How was it paid for? All of these secrets could have come out under this man's very investigation, but he rigged it from the beginning. So I'm done listening to lectures about the new conservative brand that is Paul Ryan and any.
yeah. So he had it the whole time, and the only reason we found out is because of a British court. It was a part of the court records. That's so crazy. Oh, it's so crazy. So anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting news this week. And yes, Carrie, he is a snake. He is a snake. Whoopsie. I thought I posted your he's a snake, but I posted your hug and heart instead. Maybe that's more appropriate. Yes, Paul Ryan was the first to receive the Steele dossier. Exactly. That's exactly what Kash was saying. So I just find that to be pretty incredible. So and I don't need to go on and on about Paul Ryan, but I'm putting a video together and a meme, and Do I want to give a hint? No, I'm not going to give a hint on it. But yeah, I should have ended on the good news, but I decided to end on Paul Ryan because I wasn't going to show Paul Ryan, but I decided to. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I would love to know your thoughts about Julian Assange. Do you think it's that the Biden's DOJ did that deal because of the election? I really want to know what you guys think. You know? Anyway, if you like this, will you give it a thumbs up so that other people will get exposed to the podcast? We'd like to grow our tiny little audience, but keep all of you, of course, because we love you. You guys show up every week, and I appreciate you so much. But yeah, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm on YouTube and on Rumble, QWP, and you can find me at Nevs on Truth Social, Nevs TV on X, and Nevs channel on Telegram. I do spend. You're contemplating this? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, Assange. It's interesting. The timing, the whole timing of this thing. And I'm really glad that it's released. And one of the other things I think that will come out as a part of this, which I think if they did do this in order to try to impact the campaign, I think it's going to backfire, because what's going to happen, I think, is that we're going to start digging up those emails, those Podesta emails, the Seth Rich information, all that stuff on Hillary. All of that's going to get exposed and come out, and a lot of people who have not seen all of that are going to get exposed to it for the first time, because guess what, guys? Twitter is wide open. We're not being censored on X anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see that boomerang. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to boomerang on them. They probably think they're being super strategic by doing this, and it's going to be fun. We're going to make fun of them. We're going to go expose everything that's in those WikiLeaks. Let's bring it back out, guys. Let's go bring it back out and spread it far and wide. Sound good? All right. Well, I think that'll do it for the show tonight. I was able to upload my ending video, so we'll be able to do that. Thank you guys for joining. Love you guys. I'm so excited to do the mocking God and God's wrath. It's going to be interesting. So we will see you online on social media, and then we'll see you here next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Oh, guess what? Herbie's doing Meme Wars with me this weekend. Right, Herbie? You're doing Meme Wars with me, right? So we're going to have Meme Wars this Saturday, too. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. See you later.
I can see clear.